Did you know you can layer your embossing powder and create a beautiful ceramic look to your design elements? Let's play with that today. Hi, it's Colleen and welcome to my YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss another video. So I wanted to share with you some beautiful items that I collected and was gifted from Erin Creative. She was so kind to gift me with some of these items, and some of them I purchased. And I wanted to do a video today in tribute to this amazing person. I will put her information in the description box below. But first up here is the Sketch Circle and Outline dies. This is a really cool layered die that can be used in a lot of ways. And I'm going to show you what it looks like when you die cut it. So I have used white cardstock and then Erin Lee's black mirrored cardstock to create a layered die here. And that's what I'm going to use today with my sentiment. It's beautiful, isn't it? So next is this gorgeous stamp that Erin sent me called Rainbow Flower. And I love how the bottom of the rainbow has these beautiful and very detailed roses. And there's some amazing sentiments in this set too. I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of this stamp set in a number of ways just because of the sentiments alone. And I believe that this does come with a coordinating die. Next up is this adorable stamp set with some of the cutest little sentiments. It's called Exclamation Sentiments. I love the "Hey baby." That's a cute one. So I'm going to be using this pretty well too because I love how large and bold those sentiments are. Next, we have the Chevron Builder die. Now, I've used this in another video on the WOW YouTube channel if you're interested in seeing how I use that. But I love the look, the geometric look of using those elements in my cards. And when I saw this, I thought I have to purchase this and use it as a staple because you can create all kinds of beautiful chevron backgrounds for your cards using this. And it's very easy to do. It's one die and you get 3 chevrons in 3 different sizes, and you notice how it fits perfectly on an A2 sized card base. This one I think is really pretty too. It's another geometric die called Triangle Collage die, and I loved that because it would be perfect to die cut those out and create a background on your card using those little geo elements. Next we have Monstera layering stamp set. So they are 3 different leaves that are layered. So you've got 2 layers to each, and I love the details in these leaves. Look at how detailed and beautiful they are. This is beautiful. It's called the Rainbow Clouds die. And each one of those little rainbows die cut separately so that you can create rainbow colors, which I think is very clever. I want to show you how large this is and how well this one item will fit on a 5.5 by 4.25 card panel. Look at that. You can easily fill up an entire card panel just using this die, and you can get really playful with those clouds as well. I will definitely be using that. Next up is the Jumbo Tulip. Now that's what I am going to be using today. Now this is a nice die cut that looks like it's one piece, but it actually comes apart and it fits again so nicely on an A2 sized card panel. That one I'm going to have fun with today. Now we have the Layering Leopard stencil. It is a 2-layer stencil. I have not used it yet, but I envision using this with ink and embossing powder. How fun would that be? Sketched Florals is another one. I will be sharing another stamp that I made, or another card that I made using this stamp set. They're so detailed that you can stamp those flowers without even adding any color to it. Next up, we have Erin Creative's unique and original holographic and glossy cardstock. The first one here is holographic paper. Then we have the white glossy cardstock, which I've used a lot. And by the way, you can stamp on those and heat them with your heat tool. And glossy black cardstock. And I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of that pretty cardstock. So this is everything from this wonderful person. And I hope you go visit Erin and check out her products. So she said that you can use alcohol ink on her holographic and glossy cardstock. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm really filling up this card panel, which is the white glossy cardstock, with the alcohol, because I want to make sure that I can get it to move around the page. So one of the keys about using this cardstock for your alcohol inks is make sure that blending solution is all over your card panel before you add the alcohol ink. And then your alcohol ink will blend very easily. Look how beautiful that looks. And the nice thing is that the background is nice and shiny too. Love this idea. Thank you, Erin. So now we're going to work on the Jumbo Tulip, and we're using WOW Embossing Powders. This is the WOW trio that's called Independent Trios that came out in tribute to the Ukraine Russia war. So we have 3 colors in here: United, which is a lovely shade of blue and yellow; Wheat Fields; and Blue Sky. So this is Wheat Fields, which is a gorgeous shade of yellow. And then the Blue Skies. We're going to use 2 of those from the trio along with a third one to add embossing powder and layer the embossing powder on this bold tulip. Now I have embossed it. I think I accidentally embossed it on 2 sheets of paper instead of 1, but that's okay because we're going to be adding some layers to this tulip, so I will use those. So now I have my tulip ready, and I'm taking my WOW sticky pad, and I'm just placing that sticky element over the top of each of those, and then I'm going to be adding the embossing powder. Now, this WOW embossing pad is used to help your embossing powders adhere. So now I'm going in with Fresh Stem by WOW, and I'm adding some embossing powder to the leaves, and I really think that color is pretty. Next up, I'm adding Wheat Fields to one section of the flower, just adding the color right now, and then I'm going in with Blue Skies and adding Blue Skies to the next layer. Now, after this is all done, I will need to heat set this. So now I have my WOW heat tool, which I think is amazing. It's got 2 settings to it, low and high, and I'm going to heat set this embossing powder. Now you know that your embossing powder is dry when when it goes from a matte finish to a glossy finish. So I've got them heat set, and now I'm going to go through the entire process again. I'm going to add another layer, a second layer of embossing powder to these. And you're going to see how it goes from flat to dimensional. I love this technique. Jennifer McGuire was one of the first to share this, and I have adored this technique ever since she shared it. It's a great way to add some dimension to your design elements using embossing powder. So going back in again with Fresh Stem and adding a second layer onto my leaves. And I'm going to do the same with the Wheat Fields and the Blue Skies. Now, one thing here is I usually let the embossing cool just a few seconds before I go in and add my second layer, making sure that it's absolutely set before I go in with my embossing sticky pad and add more of the sticky to it. So that's what I've done. And now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to heat set this again. And I'm actually going to do that a third time. And I do it the third time behind the scenes. But I want you to see how beautiful these look with 3 layers of embossing powder on them. It looks like ceramic tile, doesn't it? It's shiny, it's thick, it's dimensional, it's outstanding. And the colors are so gorgeous. Now that that's done, it's time to put my tulip together. So you see that I took the outline of the tulip and I adhered it onto that alcohol inked background. And now I'm going to add all of the little elements into this. What I had done behind the scenes was I die cut the flower 3 times and I glued each of the layers together so that they would really stand out and stand up off the page. And I found that this is a better way of adding dimension than to add foam tape onto the back. I prefer to use liquid glue when I'm putting those elements into those tiny little crevices in the outline, and it makes me nervous using foam tape instead of liquid adhesive because I might place it incorrectly, and then with foam adhesive, I'm stuck. But with liquid adhesive, you got a little wiggle room to place it exactly where you want it before the glue seals. Sorry about my hair getting in the way. I had to make sure that I had this where I wanted it. And now I'm going to go ahead and let that adhesive dry for the flowers and work on my sentiment. Now my sentiment I did pop up on foam tape, and the sentiment actually comes from that rainbow that had the roses on the bottom of it, because I think the sentiments on that stamp set are just beautiful. You are extraordinary. Love it. I'm so glad you joined me today, and I hope that you play with your embossing powders in this way. All of the items that I used are in the description box, along with the links to WOW Embossing Powder and Erin Lee Creative. Thank you so much for joining me today.